So one thing I've never understood about Hollywood, specifically whenever they do live action adaptations of anime, is how we don't get more anime rage moments. I'm sure most of us will never forget Goku going Super Saiyan for the first time, or Naruto tapping into that Nine Tails chakra against Haku, Ichigo when he went full Vasto Lorde against Ukiura, hell, even stepping away from Shonen when Sarah's Victoria went absolutely berserk against those zombies in Hellsing. Like, the list goes on. But yeah, these moments have so much intensity, so much rawness to them that the aura just leaks from the screen and we feel it. We feel that anger, we feel that rage, and quite frankly, it just hits. Think about it. An anime character getting pissed can literally give me chills because of how well done and executed these moments are in anime and manga. So yeah, why don't we get these type of moments in live action adaptations of anime? Let's talk about it. Now, the reason I don't understand why we don't get more of these in live action is because I feel they would work so well in live action. In my opinion, this is one of the things that would translate from anime to live action the best. You know, they may not get the spiky anime hair right or make the fights as epic, but they can certainly recreate the emotion and intensity that comes out of these characters. I mean, I would argue that's the whole point of acting, but also that's what makes us love these actors and actresses when they give us a performance that makes us enamored. And if you ask me, I think a classic anime rage moment is like the perfect layup for an actor to just deliver that once in a lifetime performance and make us feel something, you know? If executed right, you know, story, conflict, camera work, stakes, build up, I think that's the perfect setup for an actor to just come in and bring that heat. And if the acting is executed just as well, I can't see how this wouldn't translate from anime to live action pretty smoothly. Now, the reason why people complain about other things from anime not working in live action is because usually they have some kind of element that only works in anime or originates from the media of animation that upon going into a different medium would have to be adjusted in some kind of way. But these kinds of moments that we all know and love really just come down to emotion. And that's one of the things that film does best. Now, again, I gotta stress this. Assuming everything else is executed properly, story, the beats, the music, conflict, the stakes, the buildup, and the acting, then I just can't see how this wouldn't translate well. And yes, I know that with how collaborative of a medium film is, getting all those things right is much easier said than done. But my God, when it is done right, it is powerful. Now, before we carry on, I do feel like it's important to talk about an anime rage moment versus a film rage moment. But before we get into that, if you're already this far deep into the video, you might as well leave a like and subscribe to your boy, you know what I'm saying? If you're liking this conversation about anime and how it can be done right in live action, I mean, that's what the channel is really all about, you know? Your boy is a filmmaker that is very passionate about anime, and I would love to see a lot of my favorite shows. I mean, you see the background, you see the room, like, hello? But yeah, I'm just really out here trying to make sure that my favorite IPs and shows and anime and manga are portrayed on the big screen the best they can be. So that's, you know, why we're here, why we're talking about it. That's what this channel is all about. So if you guys, like I said, do want to actually be a part of contributing to that, the bettering of anime portrayed in live action, instead of just sitting there complaining about it like, oh, anime live action's trash, blah, 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 it can't be done right, blah, blah, blah. Stick around, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and yeah, help us get to that point where we are making consistently good quality live action adaptations of anime. Speaking of which, back to the conversation. So, like I said, I think it's important to address an anime rage moment in comparison to a film rage moment, because I tried to find an example of, you know, the closest thing to an anime rage moment in a film, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really get far. But the reason for that, I think we need to talk about. So the thing with anime rage moments is that they usually have the main character go into this blinding rage where we as the audience don't know what's coming next, but it's usually badass and hype. A lot of the times it's in the form of a transformation. but not always. Whereas a film rage moment is more along the lines of a freak out. Some examples that come to mind off the top of my head would be like Hugh Jackman in Prisoners, James Cagney in White Heat after learning about his mother's death, and then he started assaulting the guards. Like, they're both similar in the sense of, yes, we don't really know what they'll do next, but it's still all contained and it's all in the realm of reality. Like, we kind of get the sense of the worst they can do is yell really loudly, or if it's a horror movie, you know, they might grab an axe and kill a bitch. But yeah, I guess on that note, you could kind of argue the same sense for anime, in that, like, oh, well, we kind of know, like, if it's a shonen, for example, we might be like, oh, well, they're probably gonna get a new power or do a transformation or something. Like, if you're thinking about just the genre itself and like, okay, this movie, like for film, for example, this movie is a horror movie. So if there's going to be a freak out moment or like a blinding rage type of moment in the point of where we don't really know what's going to happen next, we can still kind of draw conclusions or draw assumptions to what we think is going to happen next because of the genre, right? In that same sense, we can also say the same thing for anime when it comes to like shonen. Like, okay, we don't know what's going to happen next, but it's probably going to be like a transformation, or they're probably going to do a new move, or they're probably going to get a new power, something like that, or something along those lines, if you're familiar with that genre, right? If it's in the realm of shonen anime, it's usually contained with what's possible within that world. The unknown factor, though, is that we still don't know all there is to know about that world. That's why we're still watching, and that's where the suspense comes from. That's where we're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? You know, when Naruto tapped into that Nine Tails chakra, like, we didn't know that that was possible, right? Like, sure, the signs were there, the foreshadowing was there, but we just didn't know. So not only does it kind of act as a rage moment, but it also acts as a world building moment as well. And I feel like that's something that's pretty unique to anime. We don't see a lot of that in film. Usually when it comes to film and those type of rage moments within film, it's not a world building type of thing. We already kind of know, or, you know, the world's already mostly been established at that point. It's just more about the character and the emotion, right? Which brings me to the main point I'm trying to make here, is that nonetheless, whether it's an anime rage moment or a film rage moment, that emotion switch, that trigger that sets something off within the character, that makes us go, holy shit, what's gonna happen next? That is the main prominent factor within both of these things. That is the thing that is still present within both anime rage moments and film rage moments, and that is the main thing, the main factor that needs to be present for this to work. All that's left missing is just the setting and the storytelling, sound effects, and camera work to be executed in more of an anime-esque way. But with the right team and director, I don't think that should be a problem. But yeah, I was thinking about it and I really couldn't find any real comparisons to an anime rage moment in film. Like, even when we look back to some of the live action adaptations of shonen anime, you know, the shonen anime that these anime rage moments are born in. Like, we still haven't gotten the Naruto live action. The Bleach live action never went into the hollow aspect like in the movie, or if it did, I can't remember it too well, and I doubt they tapped into, I'm pretty sure they didn't. Did they? Yes. But yeah, Bleach never went into the hollow aspect within that movie. And Dragon Ball Evolution was, well, you know. Funny enough though, I would argue that potentially the closest thing we have, or that we've gotten to a true anime rage moment, is probably within Dragon Ball Evolution with the Uzaru transformation. It's just that, you know, it looks fucking awful. It looks so awful, I think everybody tries to forget about that ever happening. But yeah, I do think we need to talk about the most challenging aspect of the anime rage moment and translating that into live action. You see, a lot of these anime rage moments tend to directly correlate to a transformation for the character, especially in shonen. Now, the reason I would say this is probably the most challenging aspect of nailing the classic anime rage moment and translating it from anime to live action is that if there's a transformation involved, then that would probably entail the use of CG and VFX to either create a new form of the character, like Naruto's one-tail aura around him, or Ichigo's Vasto Lorde form, although they could potentially make a suit for him. But regardless, whether they decide to make a suit for him or whether they decide to use CG to animate that form, it's still going to be the most challenging part, because that's where we get into, you know, does the CG look good? How much budget did they use for the CG and VFX? You know, does it look weird? Does the design look weird? And then if any of those things happen, like, oh, the design looks a little weird, or the CG looks a little weird, it doesn't really fit, whatever, you know, they didn't animate it the best they could have, that's gonna take us out of the moment. That's gonna take away from the emotion that these actors are, you know, putting on the screen. Like, and the second we get taken out of that, the moment's gone. Like, the magic is done. It's GG's, you know? And it's unfortunate because, again, like, the acting, the music, the story, the buildup, everything could be perfect, done to the T, like, just so perfect, but yet the CG just isn't that good, just isn't as polished as it could have been, and it just takes us out of it, and it ruins everything. And that's why film is just so challenging. Like, people really don't think about it, but it's very unfortunate. I mean, we've seen how bad it can look with the Ozaru transformation in Dragon Ball Evolution, and to be honest, I think that's the main reason why we still haven't seen a lot of anime rage moments in live action. I think everyone was just so traumatized by how bad that looked that they don't want to be reminded of that ever happening ever again. So just the thought of even attempting that is like, oh boy. But you know, I think that that is soon to change, or soon to not be as much of a problem, because, you know, anime live action has begun to increase, especially with the success of, you know, the live action One Piece. And, you know, CG in live action films has just evolved so much since Dragon Ball Evolution. It's gotten so much better. Well, in most cases. But I think it's safe to say that the main obstacles preventing these transformation scenes looking as good as they could look are slowly disappearing, which gives me faith in seeing some really amazing performances from some great actors to deliver some epic rage moments from some awesome anime in some well-made live action adaptations. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. Please leave a like on the video as well, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Come on, what are you doing? But yeah, it would mean a lot to me, honestly. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see y'all in the next video.